morning, Viking Air. I want to say thank you for having an awesome campaign last year. Last year you raised $30,000, over $30,000, so please give yourselves a hand for that. And even more impressive, since we've been keeping records at the United Way since 1994, you've raised $255,128. Thank you enough. You have saved lives, you have kept families together, you have helped people move from poverty to possibility. You've made such a difference in your community. You have invested in the community that's around you, and I cannot thank you enough for that. We have two special speakers for you this morning, and so the first person I'll introduce to you is actually one of our loan representatives. So Jarrad actually works for us for 4 months. He's a UVic co-op student, and he has a personal story to tell you. Please join me in welcoming Jarrad.
Lots of people here. So first off, I just want to say it's a privilege to share my personal story. I've shared in a lot of schools and stuff, given what's been happening in the media. So it's nice to be able to get out to the larger community to let you know about some of the changes that are happening in people's lives. So I, like you, am a lifelong supporter of a number of different charities. We're all pulled in a million different ways to give back to our community, but United Way is near and dear to my heart, and today you'll learn why. So today I want to start by asking you a question. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids are victims of bullying on a regular basis while they go through school? Well, growing up, I happened to be one of those kids. Going to school was excruciatingly painful for me, especially through those junior high years. As you guys know, it's those years as a teenager when puberty hits and everything changes. My voice went up, my voice went down, and my voice went right back up again, usually at the worst times in class. Unfortunately though, the teasing and the laughter made me never want to speak up in class or gave me any confidence to make many friends. Even worse, and while I appreciate it now, I happen to be half East Indian, and everybody knows that no one wants to be friends with that really hairy kid in class. The bullying I went through, the laughter, the teasing, and in the end, the social isolation gave me severe, severe childhood depression and anxiety. Back then, I would wake up almost every morning and beg my mom not to make me go to school. I would constantly lie and tell her I wasn't feeling good. And on many occasions, I'd actually just go to the bathroom and make myself sick, just enough to skip that day of school and make the weekend come a little bit sooner. After an especially bad day, I would get home and feel so defeated, so much so that I have no motivation to eat, let alone do any homework. And as you can see, it hugely affected my grades. All I ever wanted through those years was just to be like everyone else, just be normal and just fit. One of the fond memories that I do have, one of the strong memories I do have back then was around the weekends. Unfortunately, it wasn't like my friends to play in the park or play street hockey, but the whole reason I loved the weekend is that it would be reprieve literally from the torment that I received in school. The constant jokes, the jabs, the unwanted attention. On the weekends, I always just wanted to be alone. So this went on for many, many years and got worse and worse and worse. And when you're a child and you're depressed, seeing the next day as maybe being just a little bit better than the last is really hard to understand. May 20th, 1998 is a day that I don't think I can ever forget. It was just a few days before my 14th birthday, but it was also the day that I tried to take my own life. So fortunately for me, what happened that day, it didn't work out. And shortly after that, I reached out to a United Way funded program, which at the time was a crisis line. Very, very similar to the Need to crisis line, which is funded today with your generous donations. program helped connect me to other United Way funded programs, like counseling, support mechanisms, and just to meet other kids who, like me, were bullied and were looking for someone to understand what it was like. I made it through those really tough times and on a road to recovery, as you see me today, but I wouldn't have if it wasn't for those United Way funded programs that you guys helped make possible. Now it's funny, I wrote all this a long time ago, and I didn't, obviously, a lot before the Amanda Todd stuff that's been happening over the mainland, so it's ironic the next piece that I have, because the unfortunate thing about my story is that it's not a new story. It's the same story for literally thousands of kids who've been bullied. And if you didn't already know, to give you a picture of how bad it is in schools today, even with the bullying programs, a recent survey was done of BC students, grades 7 to 12, and 34% of them knew someone who had attempted or who had passed with suicide. So let me just say that I happen to be one of the lucky ones, as many of them aren't able to be with us today to tell their stories. The programs that United Way funds were literally a lifeline for me, and continue to be for thousands of other kids out there. These kids are your neighbors, these kids are your children's friends, and unfortunately for some of you, these are your kids. The United Way is part of a network of 132 funded programs at 69 agencies in the Greater Victoria region. Many of which you do know, but many more that you don't. Rest assured, all are quietly working to change people's lives. So today, like others, I invite you to join me in supporting the United Way, because for me, and for others, change really starts here.